Welcome back to our journey through the Bible. Moses and Aaron approached the most powerful man on earth, Pharaoh of Egypt, with a message from God. "Let my people go." Pharaoh, surrounded by the splendor of his empire, scoffed. "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." It was a direct challenge, a declaration of his own perceived divinity against the God of a nation of slaves. Egypt and its king were about to see and feel God's wrath. It began with the Nile River. The source of life, fertility, and wealth, worshipped as a god, was turned into a river of blood. The water became putrid, undrinkable. The fish died, and a stench filled the land. For 7 days, Egypt suffered. Pharaoh commanded his subjects to replicate the miracle, hardening their master's heart in the process. He refused to let the people go. So God commanded Aaron to stretch his staff over the waters. From the rivers, canals, and ponds, a disgusting tide of frogs emerged. They swarmed into every corner of Egyptian life, into their homes, their bedrooms, even their ovens, and kneading troughs. The sacred symbol of Hecate, the frog goddess of fertility, became a source of revulsion. Desperate, Pharaoh called for Moses. "Pray to the Lord to take the frogs away," he pleaded, "and I will let your people go." But as soon as the frogs were gone, piled up in stinking heaps across the land, Pharaoh broke his promise. His heart remained hard. The third plague was different. This time there was no warning. God told Aaron to strike the dust of the ground, and it became gnats and lice throughout all of Egypt. They swarmed over people and animals, a relentless, irritating torment. This time, Pharaoh's loyalist subjects were powerless. They confessed to Pharaoh, "This is the finger of God." But even their admission couldn't sway him. He would not listen. God then announced the fourth plague, swarms of flies. But he made a critical distinction. The land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, would be spared. Thick swarms of flies would infest the homes of the Egyptians, corrupting the land, while not a single fly would trouble the Hebrews. The message was clear. God was protecting his chosen people. Once again, the plague became unbearable. Pharaoh tried to negotiate, offering a compromise. "Sacrifice to our God here in the land of Egypt." Moses refused. Sacrifice would be an abomination to the Egyptians. Pharaoh relented. "I will let you go, but do not go very far. Now pray for me." Moses prayed, the flies vanished, and just as before, Pharaoh's heart hardened. He broke his word. The fifth plague struck at the foundation of Egypt's economy, its livestock. A deadly pestilence swept through the fields, killing the horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, and sheep of the Egyptians. The animals they depended on for food, labor, and warfare fell dead. Yet in Goshen, not one animal belonging to the Israelites was harmed. God protected his people again. Infuriated Pharaoh sent officials to verify this. They confirmed it. The plagues then became personal, turning from national inconvenience to physical suffering. God instructed Moses and Aaron to take handfuls of soot from a furnace and toss it into the air before Pharaoh. It became a fine dust that settled on the Egyptians, causing festering boils to break out on man and beast. The pain was so severe that even Pharaoh's most loyal subjects couldn't stand before Moses. They too were afflicted. The gods of medicine and healing were proven powerless. The Bible tells us the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would still not listen. God warned Pharaoh of a storm unlike any Egypt had ever seen. Give an order now to bring your livestock and everything you have in the field to a place of shelter. God declared, because the hail will fall on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is still out in the field, and they will die. Some of Pharaoh's officials, beginning to fear the Lord, heeded the warning. Others did not. Then came the storm. Thunder, lightning, and hail of unprecedented size rained down, shattering trees, destroying crops, and killing anyone caught in the open. But in the land of Goshen, there was no hail. Terrified, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron, exclaiming, I have sinned. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong. Pray to the Lord, for we have had enough of God's thunder and hail. I will let you go. Moses stretched out his hands, and the storm ceased. Pharaoh's old stubbornness returned. He and his officials hardened their hearts once more. God announced what little the hail had spared. The next plague would consume it, an invasion of locusts. They will cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen. God said, they will devour what little you have left after the hail, including every tree that is growing in your fields. Pharaoh's own officials begged him, let the people go. Do you not yet realize that Egypt is ruined? Under pressure, Pharaoh tried to bargain again, wanting only the men to go. Moses refused. Everyone had to go. So the locusts came, a thick, devouring cloud that blotted out the sun. They ate every plant, every leaf, every blade of grass, until nothing green remained in all of Egypt. In a panic, Pharaoh called for Moses. I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Forgive my sin just this once, and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away from me. Moses prayed. A strong west wind blew the locusts into the Red Sea, and Pharaoh again went back on his word. The 9th plague was a direct assault on Egypt's most powerful deity, the sun god Ra. For 3 days, a thick, supernatural darkness enveloped Egypt. It was a darkness that could be felt, so profound that no one could see anyone else or move from their place. Lamps and torches were useless against this divine shadow. For 3 days, a mighty Egyptian empire was paralyzed, plunged into blindness and fear. But in the homes of the Israelites, there was light. Pharaoh, desperate, summoned Moses from the gloom. Go, worship the Lord, he said. Even your women and children may go with you. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. Moses stood firm. Our livestock also must go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind. This was too much for Pharaoh. This enraged the Pharaoh. He roared, Get out of my sight. Make sure you do not appear before me again. The day you see my face, you will die. Moses calmly replied, Just as you say, I will never appear before you again. After 9 demonstrations of power over nature, animals, and the heavens, God announced the 10th plague. About midnight I will go throughout Egypt, God declared to Moses. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sits on the throne, to the firstborn son of the female slave, who is at her hand mill, and all the firstborn of the cattle as well. There will be loud wailing throughout Egypt, worse than there has ever been or ever will be again. But once again, God would make a distinction. He gave the Israelites specific instructions for a sacred meal, the Passover. They were to sacrifice a lamb and paint its blood on the doorposts of their homes. This blood would be a sign. When the angel of death passed through the land, it would pass over the homes marked by the blood, sparing the firstborn inside. That night, as Egypt slept, the final judgment fell. A great cry rose throughout the land, for there was not a house without someone dead. The heir to the throne, Pharaoh's own son, was dead. The son of the prisoner in the dungeon was dead. The firstborn of the livestock were dead. The sovereignty of God over life and death itself was absolute. The gods of Egypt were utterly defeated, their power a sham. Broken and terrified, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron in the middle of the night. "Up, leave my people, you and the Israelites. Go, worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds, as you have said, and go, and also bless me." The will of the most powerful king on earth was finally shattered. At long last, battered and humbled, Pharaoh let God's people go. Thanks for watching. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you next time.